Okay, so good evening, everyone, and most welcome to the first episode of our weekly theme-based discussion for 2026. I hope you can all hear me, and we are super excited to begin the year with the theme New Beginnings, Setting Meaningful Learning Goals for 2026. So we plan to do this every week for the next 52 weeks, God helping us. So it's going to be a forum where educators, curriculum uh, planners, and designers and learners can come to reflect, reset, and realign their goals, and also to have a free space for conversation, air out their opinions. Sometimes the topic may be centered around some of the things happening in the educational space, or in the nation or globally. So today's panel brings together passionate educators who will share practical insight, personal experiences, and strategies for intentional teaching and learning. So we encourage everyone to listen actively, reflect deeply, should I say, and join the conversation as we explore how small, well-defined goals can lead to lasting impact in our classrooms and learning spaces. So permit me to begin by introducing everyone. I am Olamide Popoola. I'm an educator and learning facilitator with a strong interest in purposeful teaching and reflective practice. Likewise, I have on the panel today Ms. Gbemisola Olukotun, who happens to be an education professional herself, committed to effective learning strategies and curriculum growth. She brings valuable insight to this discussion. I believe Ms. Olukotun is a teacher. What's the name of your school again, please? You want to mention?
Ijego Senior Comprehensive High School.
Okay, Ijego. Because I almost said Ijego, but I know you would definitely come to
No.
Okay. We thank you so much, ma'am. We're meant to have Ms. Ronke Adebowale also on the panel, or due to the fact that she's in transit or so. Hopefully she will join us later. She's a seasoned educator with passion for learner-centered education and continuous professional development as well. And last but not the least, we have on the panel for today, Mr. Daniel Aroworade, our amiable award-winning educator and examiner, widely respected for his practical approach to teaching and educational excellence. You know, the last webinar we had for District 1, should I say, reading through Mr. Aroworade's profile, then I could remember he used an acronym to describe his philosophy. So, trying to see. Well, I don't know if Mr. Aroworade is there. Possibly, you can just help us. I think he used the word epic. Yes, epic to summarize his philosophy of teaching, which happens to be empathy, personalized learning, innovation, and character development. Okay, so once again, we're most welcome to the first episode of weekly theme-based discussion. And our theme for this week is New Beginnings. So on these notes, let me first start by welcoming everyone once again to the new year. Most welcome. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to 2026. And we get to set the tone of the conversation. Now, for our opening and reflection, we have this. As educators, what does a new beginning truly mean to you in 2026? And, you know, personally and professionally, we have the floor open. Mr. Paul Chife, you are duly recognized. Mr. Chife happens to be a very good friend of mine. We had our master's program together at the prestigious University of Lagos, Akoka, if I'm correct. Yes. So, Mr. Paul, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, Mr. Aroworade, let's get to start with you as an educator. What does a new beginning truly means to you in 2026, personally and professionally? Are there things you intend to start doing newly, or you intend to begin anew?
Okay. Thank you very much for first of all making me the first person to speak. I'm going to pay for that. Meanwhile,
okay. Yeah. In all honesty, I really don't want to do it in the normal stereotype pattern of ladies first and all that. You get so it doesn't look as if we are gender biased. And I know Ms. Olukotun is the only female here, so it may just look as if we are setting her up. Like,
no, I sincerely want to know. I sincerely want to know when we are never going to be biased, because when you get to the social gatherings, they'll tell you ladies first. But when it comes to things that, so to speak, will require some efforts, you say men first. So when exactly? Are we not going to be gender biased? All right. So to the question. As educators, what does new beginning mean to me, especially in 2026, personally and professionally? Means a lot. Whatever happened in 2025 or in the previous years could have happened, could have been done excellently, but there's always a room for improvement. For me, new beginning means an opportunity to upskill my education practices, classroom practices, modes of teaching or teaching strategies. Look for ways to make teaching more interesting. I must say to you that the students that we're dealing with in this 20th century are increasingly flexible. I don't want to use the word docile. I don't want to use the word lazy. I want to use the word flexible with the way they interact with teaching items or learning items, including the teacher. And this immediately commands a territory that is accessible, is quite interesting, and comfortable for them to learn in their own style. And so a new beginning for me is that opportunity to reflect, to make research, and to see how to make learning more interesting to your students so that learning can indeed take place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aroworade. So new beginnings to you means to reflect and to reset. Miss Comfort, your input.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so for me, well, for me, a new beginning doesn't just mean starting over perfectly. I think that a new beginning is a chance to reset for me personally. And if there's one thing that I have learned over the years, I have learned that growth is a gradual thing. It is not something that happens instantly or immediately. So personally, I want to grow in self-awareness. Yes, I also want to grow in creativity. I want to grow in skill development. That's personally. Then professionally, I want to make learning more interactive for my students. I want to make it more student-centered, and I want to make it lifelong. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Comfort. So you've already used some keywords, which will definitely come get to discuss about them later. Mr. Paul, I don't know, do you have any inputs to just chip in? New
Yes,
beginning.
thank you very much. First, I must commend your efforts to bring this initiative, Mr. Olamide. I'm sure you can hear me well.
Yeah, clearly. Loud and
Okay,
crisp.
because I am on the road, so I want to make sure that my voice is well heard. Okay, so what I'm going to say is going to be very brief because I wouldn't want to uh, overstretch this. First, I also want to extend my greetings to everybody here. Yeah. Other than, I think I've met with Comfort, right? Comfort is Miss Olukotun, am I
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. We've met.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
sir.
I've
Yes,
met you
sir.
before. And then the other
Yes, yes.
person, what's the other person? Mr. Who? Mr.
Mr. Daniel.
Aroworade. Mr.
Yeah.
Daniel. I'm not sure if I've met Mr. Daniel. So whether I've met you or not, I want to believe we are all teachers, right? And
Yes,
which
thank you.
means yes, which means we are all in a familiar terrain. Okay, so one thing is central to teaching, which is making impacts to our tutees, our students or pupils, isn't it? So for me, um, the new impact or the new goal for me in this profession is reassessment. You know, English language is one of the most critical subjects in the learning forum, right? And in English, we have this concept of unlearning, relearning, and how is it put again, Mr. Alamide? Can you help me in that regard?
Yeah, to learn, to
Yeah,
relearn,
relearn
unlearn.
and unlearn. So I
Yeah.
think that is it for me. So I want to initiate that idea into my students or pupils, all right, as the case may be, all right, so that they will know that um, there is not just one way to see things and life by extension. Okay, that life goes beyond just the classroom. Application of whatever you learned from all the teachers you are privileged to meet, all right, is what matters. And as such, it makes them a better citizen, all right? I think that is what I'm going to say here. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Really appreciate for your input in that. And not to leave out my own opinion, personally, new beginning, what it really means to me in 2026, it's to keep working on myself. Like, I'm a teacher who loves to merge education and technology. So I want to upped my game in every possible way. I mean, personally, you know, and professionally, I see it as to keep doing what I'm doing, keeping what I'm doing, let it keep working, and to unlearn what didn't work, just as Mr. Paul has rightly said, and to start the year with clearer purpose. For instance, just as I've mentioned before we commence this session, that this event happens to be in the pipeline, but due to one or two things, I could not get to inform those that were supposed to be informed on time. So I was in between this decision to make that, okay, should I still inform them, even though it's a short notification and we still have it eventually, even though it's not going to be 100% perfect, or I postpone it. Now, I was of the opinion that this year, I don't want it to be a thing of, it's not going to be good enough, then we shift it, we postpone it. No. So that's part of what new beginning means to me personally and professionally. Okay, thank you so much. I want to believe that, I don't know, for the second question, taking a look at it on our screen, looking back at previous years, what learning goals did you set that actually worked and why? Because sometimes the whole conversation we are having today, I'm trying to avoid it looking like this concept of, oh, new year, new me, new year resolution, that kind of thing. At the end of the day, by ending of February, March, people just get to forget what they've said or what they plan to achieve. So let's take a look at the past. What are those things that you have actually done and it's worked out, and why did it work? So who wants to hear their opinion on this? Miss Comfort, do you want to chip in something there? Miss Comfort, are you there? Yes.
Okay. I'll pass. Please. Let someone else talk.
Okay, Mr. Aroworade, is there something you've done in the past, in previous years, that seems to work for you?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, last year, let me say that I played to the tune of my curiosity. I've always notched this dissension at constantly going for webinars, seminars, programs, all bearing the theme digital training, or should I say application of digital technology and the rest of it, and get into the real classroom scenario. The only thing digital is that the marker has stained your shirt. You have to write on the board, give notes, use paper or cardboard designed instructional materials, and that's all that is to the technology. And I told myself last year that this is the time for me to really improve myself in that area, and see how I can cascade these applications to my students and see how to also improve their learning. And to a very great extent, I can say that I was able to incorporate digital technology into my teaching, and my students found themselves also improving using some of these technologies, some of them even doing better than I could have ever thought of. And so learning took place, and in the last WAEC, some of my students who took digital learning really seriously became great in their results, and I was impressed by that also. So I can say that that's one goal I set for myself, and these applications really helped in achieving excellence. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Aroworade. If I get you clearly, the learning goal you actually been able to set in previous years, particularly last year, happens to be you going all out to develop yourself in the area of digital learning. And how did you go about that? By getting to attend webinars, taking necessary courses that you need to do. And after doing it, or after taking those courses, you do not just feel like, okay, I think I know this now. You use the word cascade. So you use your students, or should I say, you leverage on your students as a kind of mentorship, partnership kind of thing. What I know, let me share with them. And you eventually got to know that, okay, even these children can pick it up and even do better than you think you know. And why is it successful? Because they are now better at it. Learning is becoming more progressive and more productive. And I must really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much for giving us, sharing that input with us. So because of our time, because we intend to cover some aspects, goal setting in education. Let's take a look at this. goal setting in education. How can educators move from aspiration goals to actionable and measurable learning goals? So what this question is talking about, we may get to interact to react to any of the three, not necessarily that it has to be number one. So anyone out of the three that you feel like you want to interact, you want to react to, you can just get to use the raise of hand symbol, is the emoji or so. Then we call upon you. The second question, the first question is actually saying, how do we make those ideas that we have in our head become something actionable, something practicable, something measurable to know that, okay, yes, I am doing better. Then the second question here under goal setting in education is, what common mistakes do teachers and learners make when setting academic or professional goals? I think we're all teachers here. We really don't have the opportunity to have a learner on board. So we may speak from the angle of a teacher, but if you have maybe some learners share their experiences with you, you can chip that in. And the third question here is, how do you balance ambition with realism when planning for a new academic year? You know, it is one thing for you to plan this and only for you to get to school on Monday. And they say, hey, Ms. Olukotun, you're going to so place, you're visiting the district today after you've already planned that you're going to cover this, cover that, or you get a call from the district that you have to do this. How do you balance ambition and realism when planning for a new academic year? So which of the questions do you want to react to? Let me get to ask Mr. Paul, since he's on the call as well. Question number one, how do you move from aspirational goals to actionable and measurable learning goals? Do you get it right?
Hello, hello.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you may give me like a few minutes
Okay, so
to
you
to
can
leave
pass on that.
here because it's quite a bit noisy here. Okay, so you can
Okay,
pass me for
yeah,
now. Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
it's fine. Yeah. Ms. Olukotun, do you want to react to any of the questions? Possibly question number two, what common mistakes do teachers make when setting academic or professional goals? I would even love to hear from Ms. Olukotun because I've seen to read that in the last 1 year, you've really you started achieving some goals, which has to do with, I've been seeing your post on TikTok, on Instagram. I think what's the name you use on TikTok again? Ms. Comfort. Hello, are you there? Is Miss Comfort there? You're muted. If you can hear me, you just have to unmute yourself, please. So while we're still waiting for Miss Comfort, Mr. Aroworade, do you have any reaction to any of these questions?
Okay. Thank you again for the opportunity.
I want to react to the second question. What are common mistakes that teachers make when setting goals for the year or professional goals? First of all, I think that we need to understand the concept of goal itself. And one time I did a video concerning the real meaning of goal, and I broke it down. All right. And one thing that is,
Mr. Olamide, did you call me?
Yes, we were calling on you earlier, but I
Mr.
guess
Olamide,
yes, we
Mr.
called on
Olamide.
you.
network.
Yes. Okay, so you can continue, Mr.
Okay. So one thing I observed about setting goals is that people set, or teachers tend to set vague goals, vague, VAGUE. And what do I mean by this? Goals have to be specific. Goals have to be like, as against saying I want to do better. You can easily say I want to improve my student's grade by 10% this year. I want to improve their grades by 50% this year. Now, if you say I want to do better, that's vague. You're not being specific. You're not being realistic about it. Okay. So, but when you say that I want to improve their grades by 50%, and you have measured, you have done your analysis in the previous years, you've reflected, and you have said, okay, this, I can do this, I can do that. And hopefully I can upscale that result by 20%, by 30%. And these are the plans I have for it, or this is how I intend to achieve that. Then you are setting a specific goal or a realistic goal. All right. So that's one thing I see that teachers, I'm talking because I'm talking from experience, because I'm also a victim of setting big goals. All right. And then another thing is unrealistic expectations. I don't think that it is correct to deceive oneself as a teacher in the Nigerian environment or in the average Nigerian classroom. Unrealistic expectations, when you are overloading on goals or the goal setting, you are putting in so much impossible targets. You are not being realistic as well. So if you tell yourself that last year I had 40% and I have this 60% that I really need to work on this year, and you are telling yourself that, okay, this year it has to be 100%. Well, it's a good way to project, but how realistic is it? I want to ensure that I mark all assignments that I'm given this year. If that is a goal, have you checked to see if that single action will affect other areas? If you have not checked that, then it's also a problem, because your goal is unrealistic. You get to that point where you mark and get swamped so much that you don't have enough time to focus on other things. All right. So that's another thing. And then there's one mistake that people always make as well. I've heard again and again that what you write down is the goal. What you think about is not a goal, but what you write down is your goal. So not writing it down is another big mistake. Goals aren't tracked, and goals are not real when you cannot track them. So if you can write it down, then you have committed yourself concretely to something that you want to achieve. Then you see yourself going back to what you've written, and then you may probably assess yourself, score yourself as you proceed in the year, or as you achieve each and every of the goals, specific ones, as we have named previously. So, and I think it's also good for teachers to focus on of course, have a long-term plan, but focus on the short-term goal. Don't miss the big picture, but focus on one thing that you want to achieve. That is very, very, very important. All right. So these are common mistakes I think teachers make. And I've also been a victim in the past. And I'm thinking this new beginning, and I think I want to begin very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my good friend, Mr. Aroworade. Such a very thoughtful one there. So you've been able to share with us 3 nuggets, which are: don't set vague goals, make them specific. If I'm to chip in a particular concept, possibly to make them SMART. That is specific, measurable, achievable. What is the R for again? I think
Realistic.
realistic. Yeah, and you've been using these keywords while talking about concepts of goal, and you should make it time bound as well. Yeah, very well. Just to second you on the aspect of writing goals down, because that was the third point you made. Okay, let me quickly comment on the unrealistic expectation. For instance, as the team lead for EL, I have a lot of things on my, and apart from being a teacher, so I just want to use that of EL as an example right now. As a team that is just, we're into 2 years of operations now, and most of what we want to do as a team lead, I try to write them down. I make use of tools such as Google Doc, Google Drive and all that. If not for the sake of time, I would have loved to show us the plan for this year, should I say, is already stated. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. What are we doing? When should this come up? The only ones that we've not been able to attach a theme to, that is write it down. I think we're still waiting for the theme for International Mother Language Day to be out, World Poetry Day to be out. All of these things, we don't just assume that, oh, we are going to do something. We write it down. We then also, for last year, we set a goal that we want to have close to 2,000 subscribers on our YouTube. At the end of the year, we were at 1,410. So we were able to score ourselves that, okay, we set this, but we're not able to achieve it. So it's not that maybe all the goals has to do with, oh, I tick all the boxes, we mark all of these is right and all that. But it helps us to know that, oh, this was what we set last year. Why didn't we meet up to read? Was it that 2,000 was too much of something to expect? Was it realistic enough or not? And, writing it down is another thing that we usually do, or should I say I usually do. We usually do, because one of the things for our graphics designer, everything we're going to do, it's even written down. This is it. So that as little as where there should be a comma, where there should be a full stop, don't mind me. I mean, for citing different instances and all that. And I'm just trying to second you on that, Mr. Already. Thank you so much for that. And I believe with what you've said, it's a kind of response to question number 1 as well, because how can educators move from aspirational goals to actionable and measurable learning goals? I think writing them down is one of those things as well, so that's what you aspire for. You can start the action, put in the action, at least by just writing it down. And you can measure it by saying, I want to do this tomorrow by, say, 10 o'clock. So if you're able to do it by 10 o'clock, that means you've achieved a little win. You've set something and you've been able to do it. Okay, so because of our time, let's move to the next one. We want to take a look at the classroom and learners impact. Mr. Ms. Comfort already mentioned something in relation to this at the beginning. In what practical ways can teachers translate personal learning goals into improved classroom practice? I think Mr. Aroworade has already addressed this when you mentioned something about digital learning earlier, except maybe you want to elaborate more on it. But taking a look at question number 2, how can educators help students take ownership of their own learning goals, especially at junior and senior secondary level? Third question, what role does reflection play in sustaining learning goals through the year? I think I love the concept of reflection. And I don't know, Ms. Comfort, are you there? Which of these questions would you like to react to?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Olamide. Did you call my name earlier?
Yeah, we called your name earlier when we were the goal setting in education, trying to know if you have any question you would like to react to. Well, I don't know, do you still have any questions you want to react to in here? Or we'll move to the next.
You mentioned TikTok. I heard TikTok.
Yes. Oh, so you had that part. Yeah,
yes, I was trying to speak, but the network failed.
Yeah, well, I was trying to ask in the aspect of you as an educator. I noticed that you did something amazing. I mean, since the beginning of last year, which was your social presence on TikTok.
Hmm?
So was it like something you set out to achieve last year? And how did you get to put that into something actionable and measurable?
Oh, it was not something I planned. It was not something I planned, yes. And that TikTok page has just been there. At times I just do it for fun. But then seeing all the engagement on my post and seeing all comments from my students and ex-students. So I think I would actually make it a goal for 2026.
Okay.
Yes.
And in making it a goal, possibly you have to set out some kind of posts so that you can have more engagement and get to make it more specific.
More educational content.
Okay. Okay, educational content. Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay. Thank you so much. And moving to the classroom and learners' impacts, you've been making use of TikTok right now. So is there a way that your students?
No,
because
no.
I've seen some, no. Honestly, I need you to be very sincere because I've seen you. I think there was a post on TikTok where was it that your students were reciting a poem or
Yes,
they
naked
were?
woman.
Yeah. So
Woman,
please tell us
yes.
about it. That's a practical way.
In fact, it just happened. I challenged her that day to recite the poem of art, and she did, and I posted it. So it was not something that was planned. I just told her to recite. I told her that if she could recite it off heart, that I was going to give her something, and she said she could do it. So I told her to come after school hours, and she did, and I was impressed. I was impressed.
Do you know the concept of is it his philosophy of education now or is it under philosophy of education or psychology of education now? The concept of conditioning. Mr. Aroworade, I don't know if you can remember, whereby you attach a reward.
Psychology of education.
Yeah,
B.F. Skinner.
B.F. Skinner. So by attaching a reward to it, she was able to put all her focus.
Yes. I don't know how she did it. I don't know, but she did it.
And that means that you have been able to improve your classroom practice. That is, learning is not just by them depending on you alone. I think there was a question we asked earlier, trying to situate, I think it's here. Yes, the second question, that educators help students take ownership of their learning goals. You get that?
Okay.
So that could have been a learning goal for that student that you have helped that student to achieve, which is, yes, that, okay, I want to find a way whereby I can start learning these poems by heart. I want to see whereby I can start memorizing things. Such a student, don't be surprised. Such a student may be having difficulty with maybe memorization, and you have just put the student to test. And you as an you have helped to translate personal learning into improved classroom practice. Or what do you think, Mr. Aroworade?
Yes. Well, in my opinion, we need to go beyond and above just doing things all by ourselves, doing the lecturing, doing everything, wanting to do everything as teachers. We need to bring the students in. We need to let them be involved, even in every single process. Let them know even your goals, if it is possible. Let them know that this is what we want to achieve at the beginning. All right. And then share your own goals with them. Try to allow them also develop goals for themselves. It's good that you help them. You know, there's a way you can galvanize them into righteous action to help them see that they need to set goals for themselves too, or else they eventually might achieve very little at the end of everything. And then collaboration is key as well. Collaboration is key.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
You said we should allow our students set goals for themselves, isn't it? But do you think that most of these students know what they want? Do you think they naturally know how to set learning goals?
Okay, so let me come in now. What I mean when I say let them set goals for themselves.
Okay.
I'll give you a classroom scenario. When you get into the class, you let them know, okay, this year is a different year from the previous one. You need to do things better this year. But then you ask, what is your plan for this year? Many of them don't have any plan already, right? And that is where you bring them to understand the importance of goals in the first place. Things are simple, statements as simple as you must be determined to write all your notes this year and don't leave a single one out. And the student goes back and says, oh, true. Last year, I had nothing to read because my notes were incomplete. And then they reflect on how they want to make that happen. I must make it a point of duty to write when the teacher is writing. And if I am not fast enough, I'll beg my friend to give me his or her note and finish it right there in the school, even if I have to use my break time. You know, by the time you tell them these things, they are inspired to make determinations for themselves. Okay, so what we call goal can now translate to determination for them. They now know one thing that they want to do or one thing that they want to achieve. So when you make a list of those things, they can go back and reflect on it. Now, reflecting for them is setting their own goals too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be what you have set for yourself, or you can make a list for them and then they can go home and reflect on those things. For instance, last year, I told some of my students, I said, I'm looking for two, that's that last term, I'm looking for just two students who will take the pain to know major lines of all the 12 poems and link all of them to themes. If I tell you sincerely, more than half of the class were committed to that activity. And majority of them came around to tell me, sir, I can recite the whole poem. Some of them said I can recite major. And they started doing these things. In fact, I had to bring one of my vice principals, the acting vice principal. She had to reward some of them monetarily. That's how serious it was. So sometimes if you don't bring them to see that they can also set goals for themselves, it's not good to keep assuming. You sometimes suffocate potentials that is within them as well. So that's what I mean when I say help them to set goals for themselves.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So that makes them responsible for their
Responsible.
own.
Yes,
Exactly. Make them responsible.
Responsible.
For both their actions and inactions.
And their progress.
Inactions.
Yeah.
And while Mr. Aroworade was speaking, one thing that came to mind was the concept of how should I put it now? We should reassess how we use class activity, or should I say assignment. So the normal pattern by which we just write, do your homework, this is it, identify so, making sure, the normal, paying attention to the 3 domains and all that. But we can do more. For instance, we can make the students get to have an idea of setting out goals indirectly from the kind of questions we give to them in our class activities or in the assignments given to them. So what Mr. Aroworade mentioned happens to be a kind of, should I say, a long-term, I wouldn't want to say a long-term goal, but because you made it like before the end of the term, how many of you can achieve this? That is, know some major lines of the poem and also link them to themes. So that's setting out a goal for the learner just by reason of the classwork that you've given to them. I don't know if I'm correct at that point. Okay, time is really against us. I want to see if we can still take a look at some of the questions we have here. We have on curriculum tools and innovation. We may not be able to take a look at question 1, but in what ways can digital tools, platforms, or communities support goal tracking and accountability? It's one thing to set goals. It's another thing to have the sense of accountability. Yet now, just as Ms. Comfort said, that they will become responsible for their own actions and inactions. So how well do we as educators make use of digital tools or platforms or community for goal tracking and accountability? I don't want to make comments now because I know the way I have been on Miss Comfort neck concerning some certain things. So I can proudly say that in this aspect, too, at a point she was running away from me. Miss Comfort, yes or yes? Are you there?
Yes, 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 yes.
And there is still one of the goals. Yeah, I'm super proud of you. In all honesty, you're someone I'm super proud of. In terms of you didn't shy away from some of those things when we were setting them out and all that. And there was a time you shared with me how you've completed a course. What was the course you completed then? I can't remember. And you got your badges and you share the wins with me. I think that's part of we tracking the goal. I think that was for last year. Then towards the end of last year, you were still able to achieve one of the goals that we set out as well. And so in what ways, to what extent can we say that digital tools, platforms, or communities, because this is a community already. You don't have to have 1,000 persons before you say, okay, I'm in a right community. It may just be one or two. Let the head just be correct. Let the head of those people just be correct. That is the most important thing. So, do you have something to chip in, Ms. Comfort? I don't know if Mr. Paul is well settled now. You can just let us know when you're well settled in. Ms. Comfort, do you want to react to that question?
I'm settled in now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so if Ms. Comfort is still pondering on ideas, I would like to chip in my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah. So first, I'm going to start by saying this incentive or this program we're having tonight. First, for me, I see. I think it's a learning curve for me first. All right, because I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't a trained teacher. Okay, so you can see why I said it's a learning curve for me. However, I've been in the teaching profession for years. Okay, even though I wasn't a trained teacher. All right, but how do we talk about bringing digital tools to our learning community, right? And the community involves the teachers and the learners. Am I correct? And the administrators by
Yes.
extension. Yeah.
Yes, and the question is how it can help to track our goals and for the sake of accountability.
Okay. So, there are always two sides to a coin. Am I right?
Yes.
So, in as much as digital tool is necessary in every sphere, all right, and in particular to learning, all right, there are pros and cons to digital tools in it, and given that there are pros and cons, we have to emphasize more on the pros, all right, in the classroom. For instance, introducing artificial intelligence for good use, all right, because these days you will notice that most students are not using artificial AI in the right way, all right? They are, in most cases, abusing it. And that is really, really affecting the way they learn, all right? Because I could remember during our time, when there were no really much of internet of such, all right? We go to the library, we read the physical books, we painstakingly do our assignments, all right? And whilst doing that, you can see we tend to learn a lot, all right? Because there are a lot of researches to be done. But if we are able to make our students make use of artificial intelligence properly, all right, they can also fine tune it in such a way that it becomes an avenue for them to learn better, because I see it as as an as an advantage, all right, for them, which we don't have during our time, right? So if they can be able to, make a proper use of digital tools such as artificial intelligence. When I say artificial intelligence, I mean um, things like ChatGPT. Sure, we are all familiar with this, right?
Yep.
So
Yes.
if they can try and integrate this, all right, and carry out research beyond the classroom learning, all right, and then use it in minimally, all right, not entirely in their researches and assignments, all right, it's going to help them really much rather than just completely focusing on it. So what am I saying? What I'm saying here is that digital tools, I'm speaking from the place of artificial intelligence now, all right? If we can try as much as possible to let them know that uh, the proper use of digital tools such as ChatGPT, if they use it properly, is going to really help them get better rather than abusing it. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Really appreciate you for your input on that. So, getting to know how to leverage on digital tools, particularly the use of AI, and this can help in tracking our goals to a reasonable extent, particularly as teachers to guide these students so that they don't get to misuse, because we live in an age whereby it can be misused. Okay, Mr. Aroworade had to opt out because he has another assignment unstable to attend to. Time would not avail us to attend to some of these questions, in all honesty, because we just want to keep it within 1 hour, and this is already 8 o'clock. I must really appreciate every one of us who has deemed fit to join this evening. Thank you so much. And next week, Saturday, by 7 p.m., we get to meet again. We still have 1 or 2 questions to still attend to. But quickly, can we just attend to question number 2 here? How do you stay motivated when progress feels slow and overwhelming? This is a very practical and reality-based question. How do you stay motivated when progress feels slow or overwhelming? This will be the last question. We'll be taking on today's weekly TBD before we call it a day. So who wants to chip in their opinion first? Ms. Comfort, how do you stay motivated? Please don't mention that it is by calling Mr. Olamide.
Okay. I remind myself every time that progress does not have to be impressive. Showing up constantly is progress. So that's my own take. And one thing that has motivated me is the feedback I get from my students and my ex-students. So there was this post on TikTok. There was this comment I read from an ex-student. I can't remember, but I think she said the reason she gained admission into OAU. That comment, I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did differently. That comment alone is a motivation for me. So it does not have to be impressive. Showing up constantly is progress. Constantly and consistently. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Comfort. Mr. Aroworade, you're still there. How do you stay motivated when progress feels slow or overwhelming?
It's okay. So, if I will be honest with you, I'm not sure there's a particular method that is cast in stone to stay motivated. But there are, of course, things that can happen around you that motivates you. To be honest with you, if I'm going to give you my own answer, I'll take you through a biblical allusion of Romans chapter 9, where Paul cried that there's a thorn in his flesh. He cried to God, and God said, "Don't worry, my grace is sufficient for you, and my
My grace is sufficient for
my
you.
grace is made perfect in your weaknesses." However, that's just by the way. I want to say that motivation is one thing that is very scarce and expensive. Sometimes some people will tell you, "Don't worry," because they have not gone through what you're going through. And it's very easy. Yes, it's very easy for you to eject such condolences or whatever, because you know that the person cannot even really feel what you're feeling. And this is why I think that in times like that, it is good to collaborate with people that has experience in that area. And this is why I'm going to judge you for telling Ms. Olukotun not to mention that she comes to you. It's a very good way of motivation. If you neglect the wisdom of the previous generation, you might get yourself hooked within the rock. So one way to get yourself motivated is to go to someone who is elderly, someone who is experienced, someone who has gone through some of those things before, and just hear from them how they made it through the waters during their own journey. And then apart from that, I believe that books help a lot. When you read books, you see you get to know the experiences of great men, people who have gone through this and that. If you are tired to read, you can even watch documentaries of people and how they scaled through these parts. All right. But much more than that, Mr. Olukotun said it all. We're talking about setting goals, and we've been talking about setting goals. And we also mentioned that we need to track our progress. Now, in tracking your progress, of course, you would see 1,000,001 things that you have not done well, but you actually see one or two things that you did and you got accolades for. Those things are things you could be able to fall back on, and inspire you to do more. I can't even mention how many of my students have written messages to me and saying, in fact, some of them were almost crying and saying that I'm the love of their lives. So things like that inspire you to do more. Wow, so it's one good way to get yourself motivated to do better. All right. So that's where I would like to stop for tonight. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aroworade. Thank you so much, Miss Comfort. From Miss Comfort's response, I could remember the saying that we should learn to celebrate our small wins. They don't have to be super impressive in terms of maybe when we get 1 million views or 1 million likes on the internet. It's just about 1 or 2 lives or 3 lives out there that can make reference to read that it is because of you, Miss Olukotun. I never gave up in life. I never gave up on my studies. And here I am. Thank you so much for everything you've done. I think it means a lot. Mr. Paul, do you have the floor? I can see your hand raised.
Just a quick one.
Yeah, how do you stay
Once again,
coming to you? Yeah.
Once again, I will still reiterate that this is a very good learning avenue for me. All right, and from what Mr. sorry, I don't want to murder your name.
Mr. Daniel is okay.
Mr. Daniel, yeah.
No,
What Mr. Daniel just said, he really touched on so many aspects of your motivation, all right? From the perspective of teachers, okay? And this is Miss Olukotun. She did really touched on some very important things, okay? Like saying what the feedback she gets from her teacher, her students, really serve as motivation for her. For me, motivation is seeing the number of students or pupils that you have been able to help through their academic journey, right? It's a thing of joy for you to see that these students, scaling through primary school, scaling through secondary school, and in all of it, they pass through. They see you as a mentor to them, right? And they get to a certain level in life that they they are proud of them. Their parents are really proud of them. I think it's enough motivation, all right. And beyond that, what I also see as motivation here is that the joy that you feel, or the joy that comes with, giving impacts, making impacts, all right, not just in the classroom, but in the society, because teachers are really essential in this our world, right? Without teachers, I really doubt if we are going to have um, morally sound professionals, right? I think that is it for me. So teaching is enough motivation for everyone. I don't think there's any teacher that will say is not motivated. If the teacher is not motivated, then that will be maybe coming from a materialistic perspective, given that in this profession, there is really no much, financial abundance that comes with it, right? But the way I see motivation is not only, it doesn't only come from money, right? However, what works for one may be different for another person, right? But generally speaking, and from my own view, all right, uh, making impact in the society, not just to the students and to the because when you teach people, all right, you're making the society better. So that is the way I see it. And I'm going to you there. Thank you very much.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Really appreciate you for your apt response on that. And I sincerely want to appreciate each and every one of us for our input on today's TBD, being the first episode of the year. And I hope we get to do more and more of this next week, hopefully by God's grace. We were not able to touch on some questions, and if time permits, when next we have a theme related to today's theme, then we can take a look at it very well. Next week it kind of relates to reads, because next week we're going to be looking at curriculum and planning, how strong foundations make confident classroom. How foundation make confident classroom. Week 3, we'll get to take a look at reading culture. A year rooted in reading grows deep understanding. So for January, we're taking a look at things related to strong foundation, reading culture, and week 4, which is the last week in January, take a look at drama in learning, how role play and dramatization matter in language teaching, how students can learn a lot just by seeing us do the right way, act it the right way, and such. Thank you so much for your time once again. We can get to connect with us on social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, it's Everything Literature. And you can also connect with us. Leave a message at info@everythingliterature.net. Visit everythingliterature.net to see, keep yourself abreast of latest developments. And should I say web app is as good as almost ready. app.everythingliterature.net. You can get to register, because the community we are building will definitely move in there. We have the EL community there. We have a lot of packages in the
app, .everythingliterature.net, the web app. So you can get to register for now, and before the end of the month, so to say, most of the features should be fully ready. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate once again. You're all my good friends. I'm really, really grateful to be connected with you. I think I've been opportune to meet Mr. Aroworade maybe once or twice, I mean physically, but we've had a lot of interaction online. We've done a lot of networking. Mr. Paul, we've known each other now going to 4 or 5 years. Did I say 4 or 5 years? Going to 6 years, isn't it? And you've always been a big brother.
Is that not 6 years?
6 years, don't mind me. I said 4 or 5 years. So
yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, honestly. And I must really appreciate you for the push all the time. We need ourselves. No matter how you want to see me as the guy at the top and all that. Mr. Paul was the one who assisted me when I was preparing for some exams. So he's an IELTS specialist. So it was not like, Mr. Olamide, guy, everything literature. No, I said, my friend, you know the whole stuff. Come and teach me. So, we went through some classes under his tutelage and all that. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul. And to me, it's Comfort, my good friend. What brought us together? This was what brought us together. That was, if there's any reason why I had to tell the team that we need to restart weekly TBD, it's because of Miss Comfort, because there was just that lady that was following up back to back. I will always see her until the day we get, I just said, this lady, please chat to me, let's talk. And from there, I've become the person that sometimes she'll be giving Glasgows. She'll enter my DM. I'll just, hey, oh, girl. Well, let's leave it there. Thank you so much, my people. Get to meet next week. Love you guys. Big time. And should I say up Nigeria? We just want to AFCON game.
Up Nigeria.
And happy resumption to us all. Resumption comes up on Monday.
I'm not ready for resumption. Please don't remind me.
Okay, all the very best.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah,
everyone.
enjoy.
Good night.